Graham, thanks for coming out to the show and supporting Auto Smarts. And I want to start out with the same question everyone gives you. How in the world are you going to keep the tradition going and fill your dad's shoes?
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I think that the biggest thing is that racing nowadays is far different than it was then. I mean, I think the way that, from NASCAR, I mean, at the time, you could, with Dad, you could do NASCAR, you could do open wheel, you could do sports cars, you could do everything. I mean, now you can't just go to one or the other and do a one-off. I mean, sports car is just about the only thing that you can go and do the Petit Le Mans or Sebring and get away with it as a third driver. So times are far different for us. I think the only thing, with the way that it is now, you just have to be as successful as you can be in, for me, IndyCar. And we'll see where the future, takes me. I mean, right now, obviously that's where I'm at and happy to be there.
When you were little, what was the first thing you ever raced?
Well, I can't, the first races that I was ever in were in Circleville, and then also down in Camden, which is just south of Dayton. And the go-karts were always what I, started in. I had them as a kid. We always had like little hot rod go-kart and stuff. And so those were the things that I enjoyed really doing. And I think that's what kind of drew me into it. I was always in love with racing. I mean, I went to a lot of the races with Dad, always a big part of my life. But I can't remember exactly when the first race was, to be honest. So I should. You'd think I would.
Many of them.
Yeah, I mean, there had been a ton.
What was going through your mind in the St. Petersburg race when you saw the checkered flag and you were going to get your first big win? I mean, was your heart just pounding out of your chest at that point?
To be honest, I don't think that it was just, it felt so good to finally win a race. I say finally, I mean, it was my debut, but even, through last year in Champ Car, I really wanted to get my first win, and it felt so good to do it. And I still, still to this day, I don't know if it's actually hit me that it's happened. I mean, the season went on so fast that, even from the time of St. Petersburg, it just, everything has come along so fast since April that I think we've only had like 3 weekends off. So, if you put it in perspective, there's not much time to sit back and think about it.
I mean, I remember when Dale Jr. won his first big NASCAR race and Dad came flying over and grabbed him by his neck and shook him. I mean, how was your dad acting when you got your first?
I think it was the same. I think it was the same. I mean, it was definitely a great feeling. I mean, to see him, I mean, he was so excited about it, and it felt good to get that done. And then, for us, I mean, obviously, for the both of us, it was a lot of, hard work and a lot of time and money spent to get to that point. So for him, it's realizing a dream as much as it is for me.
20 plus years in the car business, we call it PhD, Papa Had dealerships. And there's a lot of good kids like Danny Hatfield Jr. and Zach Germain and kids like yourself that had great fathers. So what did your father do to make you such a great person?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to the way that you were raised. I mean, Dad, it was always, he's a professional guy. I mean, even when he's at home, I mean, it's a pretty serious environment usually. And I think that he would really never let anybody off the leash. And so I think that's, that as a kid, that was a lot of it, to keep you very mature. And I mean, spent a lot of time at the racetracks with them going to big sponsor functions. And so to be out of control is never even an option, unfortunately. So, and that's just the way it is. I mean, it's, he teaches, I mean, for me, I can't tell you exactly one thing. I mean, there's been, everything in life, it came from Mom and Dad, so I think that there's a lot of things that have made me who I am today, for better or for worse, I don't know.
A good friend of mine, Tyler Knuckles, his parents own the Columbus Motor Speedway, and he's in college right now, and he's having a hard time getting homesick, wants to come back and race. Back when you were in New Albany High School, how in the world did you do both? You raced and studied. How did you pull that off?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not, obviously right now it's not an issue, but, for when I was in high school, I mean, it was very busy. I mean, my senior year, I missed almost 90 days out of the 180-day school year. So, when you look at it that way, you certainly are gone quite a lot. And it's tough to stay concentrated on school. I mean, and that's why right now I'm taking time away from college, because it's, with this career, it is too tough to, you miss so much that it's tough to stay on top of it. And I know a high school workload's one thing, college is a completely different one.
And what advice would you give Tyler Knuckles? I mean, how in the world is he going to deal with all this?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, with Dad, college was the most important thing, to go to college. But it got to the point where, you know, you got to strike while the iron's hot, and so that's what we're doing. And you don't put off a career that's right now going pretty well to go, you know, to college. I mean, because basically that would kind of end it for, you know, a few years. So, and you can always go back to college. I mean, that's the fact. I mean, you see people that go back at 50 years old. I mean, you can do it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question I ask everyone on my show. It's a snowy day, nothing to do. You got to go to rent a movie. What movie, car movie, do you rent?
Well, I would say of the modern movies, I'd say Gone in 60 Seconds would be the only one that I'd actually watch.
Yeah. Now, us old guys have our favorite classic car, and I always ask people this. From 1955 to 1972, what classic would you love to own?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I think it's like the 69 Camaro. I don't know exactly why.
Yeah.
And we've had Mustangs. I mean, we've got a Hertz Mustang right now. I love that car.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. I mean, I just, especially, you know, the new ones that they're mini tubbing and everything. I think they look so great. So I don't know.
Well, Graham, thanks for coming on the show, showing your support for Auto Smarts. I appreciate it, and good luck on your career, and can't wait to watch you turn into a legend like your dad.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Ta-da.